We are lucky to have with us today Dexter Galvin, Global Director of Corporations and Supply Chains for CDP. Dexter, thanks for joining us at Microsoft Ignite. But I want to start with the first question. We don't have a lot of time. What do you do?
So I work at CDP. We're an international nonprofit, and we work with major corporations to disclose their environmental impacts globally. So over 13,000 companies disclosed their climate, water, and deforestation impacts last year to us.
I mean, that's amazing because you have insight into, you said 13,000 organizations. What sustainability challenges are you seeing across these organizations? Are they similar or different? Tell us what you know.
Yeah, I would tend to break them up into two different areas. You've got the leaders who are really struggling to see, they're really interested to see what's next, what's coming around the corner. Then the laggards, I would say, are more focused on getting started. And one of the challenges that they see is, how do I start on this environmental journey? A lot of these organizations have just a small proportion of their operational spend on energy. So they're really struggling to prioritize these environmental issues, and they really struggle on where to start. But for the leaders, I think it's okay. We've done a lot of the quick wins in our own operations. How do we tackle this in our supply chain? How do we work with our suppliers to reduce their impact? And how do we reduce the impacts of our products?
I mean, to me, first of all, it's impressive that companies even disclose this stuff to you. I mean, first of all, why do they do it? And also, why is it so important for companies to disclose their environmental data and their impact?
Well, we're huge believers in the need for transparency, but the main reason that companies disclose to us is that we represent over $100 trillion in assets under management from the investor community. So when we ask large listed companies to disclose to us, we carry rather a big stick. And we also represent over $4.5 trillion of annual procurement spend. So when we ask suppliers to major corporations to disclose, we're also doing it on behalf of that powerful cohort.
I mean, and it's impressive because you have, again, such good visibility. Let's say companies are wanting to get into sustainability and understand the impact that they're having on the planet. Any guidance you could offer organizations who are just getting started on the sustainability journey?
Absolutely. The first thing is to measure, because of course you can't manage what you don't measure. So that's the starting point in the journey. Our annual disclosure request, the CDP questionnaire, is a great starting point for a lot of organizations because we ask the kind of pertinent questions that their stakeholders want to know. For example, whether they have a reduction target in place, whether they can calculate their own emissions, and so whether they can really understand their environmental footprint. And it's from that understanding that you can really then build a strategy to reduce your impact. So we've seen a lot of organizations start to disclose their emissions, start to understand where their emissions are coming from across their organization, and then using that information to set a robust emissions reduction target, and then move on to a science-based target, which means that their target is in line with the requirements of climate change.
I mean, this is amazing. I'm sure you're seeing, like, I mean, it's pretty obvious that as soon as you start to measure something, then you can start to make an impact. Are there some wins that you're seeing that from the work that you're doing already?
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things is for a lot of smaller organizations who haven't addressed this issue, the simple opportunities that are out there. Last year, suppliers reported $33 billion in annual emissions reductions in savings from their emissions reductions activities. So there are simple, quick wins like simply changing your light bulbs, but also in investing in your facilities. These are where some of the biggest wins are. And some of these projects have payback periods of less than a year. So we're seeing huge amounts of commercial opportunities for companies just starting out and really starting to reduce their impact. And then, of course, on the bigger front, there's trillions of dollars in the ESG space now that companies can benefit from if they're really taking
Awesome.
robust action.
I mean, this is amazing. Dexter Galvin, Thank you so much for being a part of Microsoft Ignite. This was awesome.
Pleasure.